Hello, my name is Bruno Cota and I represent you some results of my study musical training in teenagers with an F1, effects on cognition and auditory perception and its electrophysiological correlates. I have no conflicts of interest to declare, and we know that an F1 can result in a variety of cognitive and behavioral disorders listed here in previous study, which we carried out at our Neurofibromatose reference center, it was found that about 70% of people with NF1 have central auditory processing disorder, which can be correlated with language disorders. And subsequently, we also found that 70% of NF1 individuals have impaired musical processing. We also have seen that it's correlated with a long latency auditory evoked potential, the mismatch negativity, which assesses the ability of our primary auditory cortex to perceive changes in some acoustic aspects of sounds in a pre-attentive level. This is the evoked potential mismatch negativity. And we also realized that among individuals with NF1, the quality of music perception was inversely proportional to the latency of the occurrence of this evoked potential. So a few questions emerged. Is there any correlation between autism spectrum disorder, amnesia, and other cognitive problems in people with NF1? Could musical training result in any improvement in these problems, considering that music processing involves several brain areas related to different perceptual and executive skills, in addition to multiple cognitive domains? So, to answer these questions, we started a clinical trial with the following objectives: evaluate the effects of music training on auditory processing, music perception, and mismatch negativity, assess the effects of musical training on other cognitive domains, and investigate whether there is any correlation between auditory processing disorder, amnesia, and other cognitive problems in NF1 people. To evaluate the feasibility of the proposed assessment instruments, as well as the feasibility of the methodology of music teaching that we developed, we chose to develop a pilot study with 9 teenagers who were submitted to a battery of tests before and after 6 months of musical training. The stats included a short version of Montreal Battery of Evaluation of Amnesia, a gaps and noise test to evaluate temporal auditory processing, the mismatch negativity to evaluate the preattentional auditory perception, a neuropsychological test battery to evaluate IQ, executive functions, visual spatial, short-term memory, working memory, inhibitory control, and selective attention. And all these volunteers were also submitted to magnetic resonance imaging. Um, in this slide, we can see some pictures of our sessions, music training. Our methodology of music teaching was based on collective music classes to promote socialization among volunteers. At the beginning, we used methods based on Dalcroze theories, promoting the maximum use of body rhythm and the integration of different neurological abilities. Well, our results after 6 months of music training, we realized that the remaining 6 participants showed improvement in temporal auditory processing. All of them had a detectable mismatch negativity post-training, whereas only 3 of them have presented a detectable mismatch negativity in the pre-training test. There was an improvement in global and specific music perception, and in most cognitive tests we found some improvement. Here we can observe an important improvement in mean scores related to music perception and auditory processing. This slide illustrates the emergence of mismatch negativity in one of the volunteers after 6 months of music training. So, our conclusions, these preliminary results support our hypothesis that music training can improve auditory functions, especially temporal auditory processing in F1 adolescents. These auditory effects of music training may occur in the repetitive auditory perception level, and music training may improve music perception, some cognitive functions in F1 teenagers. Now, after a long period that we were unable to carry out in-person musical activities and assess the volunteers due to pandemic, we restarted the clinical trial, and I really hope to come back with good news about it next year. And I will show some pictures of an amazing event occurred in December 2019, in which the research volunteers formed a music group which was called Non Faltão and made an emotional presentation at the closing party of the Associação Mineira de Apoio às Pessoas com Neurofibromatose, a month. Thank you so much.